Greetings, guys. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Monette, and this is my channel, Evolve with Monette. For those of you that are new here, I am a professional intuitive empath, and it's so good to share energy with you today. I am on a interesting little side trip, a vacation, but there's a story that goes along with this. Welcome in. Thank you for inviting me in. I'm going to share the story, and hopefully it will provide some not just motivation, but inspiration for those of you that are in the manifestation game. Where I'm currently at is a home. Not my home, but a home. It's a multi-million-dollar home in a gated country club community. Now, I've mentioned before that my husband works at a country club. And one of the things that has happened in the last couple of years is that he has started his own, I'm so proud of him, he has started his own side business, because at that country club, the owners are allowed to bring their beautiful pets to the country club and whatever, and so all of the staff there get to pet the pets and interact. Well, my husband is a Capricorn earth sign. He is incredibly good with animals. I call him Dr. Doolittle, and his family and friends know him to be that. He's better with animals, I think, than he is with humans. So he's pretty good with humans too, but pretty good with animals. And so he has such an affinity with them that they started to, one by one, seek him out to do dog sitting and house sitting and dog sitting adjacent for them, or pet sitting of all kinds. He's sat for many pets of every kind, chinchillas, cats, birds. But what that gives him access to is these really gorgeous homes, and most of the people are fantastic, and they always make it like a retreat and invite us for the weekend. So it's a really beautiful thing. So I'm going to give you a pan around. I'm going to talk about this. We are literally at a home that has putting greens in their backyard. Over there, that black spot, if you can see it, it's just beyond the shade of the trees, is a trampoline that's built into the ground. Crazy. Beautiful kind of an infinity edge jacuzzi, and absolutely gorgeous pool. That right there in front of us, straight ahead, is the guest house that we are staying in. And then a beautiful outdoor kitchen. You can't kind of see because there are screens. I can't see what you see because it's kind of a, what do you call it? The glare is hard. But there are screens, a gorgeous outdoor patio area. I love this outdoor living space and kind of concept. And then over here behind me is a gym. And on the gym wall is a picture of the dog of this beautiful family that lives here. They are huge fans of their dog, and he is all throughout the home. In any case, what I want to talk to you about as we kind of look at this very picturesque, serene scene this morning. I'm trying to see what would be a good... Let's go back towards the putting greens, give you guys a nice view this way. I'll set you down and we'll chat a little bit about this. Sounds of nature this morning. Okay. So, this is really interesting because I talked about this in my live last night a little bit, letting you know that by day I would show you the evidence of what I was saying. But my husband is at work currently, but I'm here at the home as I'm allowed to be and getting to have a day leisurely. So I'm working a bit, already taking some clients this morning. It's about 8. And then I get to swim and do all the rest of that. So I will be doing that. I have my cocktails ready. It's like a whole vacation. Now, you guys know that I travel a lot. You often see me in Airbnbs. And at those Airbnbs, I pay for those Airbnbs, and I travel very often. My husband does not have the travel bug like me. That's just not a thing that's in his DNA. He is a 9-to-5 kind of guy. He likes his work. He likes things to be very, rudimentary, and that's that. I travel out of the country. I travel in the country a lot. Even if you guys don't see and hear every trip, I'm often traveling. So that does my soul and my life good. But it's something that I'm really grateful that it's something he's comfortable with. And even when he wasn't comfortable with it, because he wasn't always, he got accustomed to it. But it bothered me because I thought, well, isn't the whole point of, having a partner, you get to have these things? So what I started to do was I had a conversation with him, and then I started to manifest soulmate connections, of which I could have some of those outside of the country travel experiences that I knew I wasn't going to get with my husband. Message here is, don't ever, if there's something that makes your heart light on fire, and that's actually part of my destiny, it's in my chart, do not sacrifice it for whoever you're with. Do not turn down your light or dim your light for any partnership, but do ask that your angels find a level of homeostasis or some level where you guys can meet. This solution is so brilliant because it was born of manifestation. It was born of genuine passion, meaning my husband's genuine passion, which is animals. And it was a moment of destiny that was offered to him and has been repeatedly offered to him, where it's like he has picked the lock of the matrix. I'm so proud of him as I'm watching him do this, because in the beginning of our relationship, I remember us having gratitude list. I would insist that before we went to bed, we'd sit next to each other in bed and we would write down gratitude list. And my husband, we'd stick them in the jar, and then we'd go back maybe a month or two later, 6 months later, and see what had come true. But I was teaching him these just very fundamental, almost like ABC, C-spot run principles of manifestation. And I remember pulling one of the slips of paper out of the gratitude jar in the beginning of our relationship. This is probably when we were still dating, and him and him reading it, and it would say, "I'm grateful for chips." CHIPS, chips. And I was like, oh my God, angels, is this man a lost cause? Are you sure this is my life partner? Because I believe we have soulmates. I believe we have life partners. I believe there are twin flames. I believe there are a lot of delineations of partners that we have in this lifetime. And so I knew he was a life partner. I knew we were compatible. I knew there was an easy way between us. But there were also other things that were not compatible, like the wanderlust that I have, he just didn't share. And I thought, oh gosh, are we ever going to meet in the middle there somewhere? Or will I always have to outsource? And I was okay with the outsource. He was okay with the outsource. We made it a sanctioned thing in our connection. But it's still in the bottom of my heart. I thought, you know what, angels? Y'all are just going to have to fix this. I remember talking to my mom about it at the beginning and thinking, I just don't know if this is going to work, because the kind of person I am and the kind of person he is, and it's not to say that we haven't traveled and gone on cruises and done things. We have, and that he hasn't come out of the country with me as I've officiated weddings. He has. But, even his brother, my brother-in-law, my broskies, would be like, we all in the family ask how you two ended up together, because he's very much a hot dog kind of guy, and you're like foie gras and, beef and beef tongue and, whatever, literally, truly. And so in any case, I was like, I don't know, the angels have a purpose here. So that may be a message for some of you guys, maybe looking at maybe partnerships and thinking, does this align? But also the hierarchy message is, well, tell the universe what you want. Tell your angels what your wish is, and watch them bring it to life and manifest it. So, like I said, I pay to go to Airbnbs. My husband has somehow absolutely figured out a way and slipped through the matrix where he is paid to stay at them. These places that we stay at, these homes of these incredibly wealthy people, are beyond what I'm paying for at an Airbnb ever, okay? It's beyond the experience. And when I talk about a full experience, like when we were greeted, when we arrived over the last few days, there were beautiful notes and all the things, but there was not only his pay and money ready on the table, which was beautiful and fantastic, but there were a series of gift cards for a lovely quaint breakfast place and a really snazzy dinner place and a fantastic authentic pizza place. So, and rolled up towels for the pool. In fact, if I train my camera over here, you can see, I don't know if you can see it through the window there. I'm going to see if I can zoom in. I'm going to zoom all the way in. Do you see right there? Yes. That's pool towels that are rolled up that are on an ottoman. So that was what was waiting for us. Pool towels, regular towels, a literal shower in the guest house full of every toiletry, complimentary treats, and all the rest of it. Uh, Sometimes I haven't seen this many amenities at an actual Airbnb. To be very honest, if you guys are Airbnbers, you know exactly what I'm saying. My point in saying this is that I watched my husband go from I am grateful for chips, of which I thought, oh my God, is he a lost cause? But I never think anyone's a lost cause. I mean, that's literally what I do for a living is I breathe life energetically and spiritually into people, and whatever it is that they're wanting, whatever is for their highest good, I point them in the direction of that. And if they want it and they put the work in, we're going to manifest it because I have an infinite belief and I have a direct connection to the source. So how much more so for a partner? You know, it's one of the things I teach here is that as an Empress energy, when people are under your umbrella, abundance is their portion. But people have to want to tap into abundance, and they also have to be respectful of the vessel that is procuring it. Not you specifically, I'm talking about what's above me. I'm a conduit of energy, but you have to be respectful of the higher realms. And my husband, while he grew up Catholic and whatever, wasn't really in touch with his spirituality in the way that he is now, where now he talks to angels and now he tells everybody, all of his clients, what I do for work unabashedly and proudly. It's very sweet. But beyond that, he really believes in me, but he doesn't just believe in me, he believes in his own connection with the angels. He talks to them. I taught him about which angels connect with animals, and that was my introduction for him, and he took the rest from there. And he talks about his angel number sightings and all of this beautiful stuff, the growth that has happened with him. For anybody here that's known, because I have friends that have been watching that have known me for years and knew us at the beginning, you know what I'm saying is insane growth for who this man is. And here we sit before us here at this most incredible juncture. A house that has, I don't know, it's like 4 fire pits. There's one in front of us, like straight ahead over that way. I'll see if I can zoom in again. Anyway, that's a fire pit area. There's one behind me. The point is this. I'm so impressed. But if my husband can do it, anybody can do it. And what he did was he allowed his passion to lead him to his destiny point, which then trickled over into me in some beautiful way. I was so grateful because, again, I pay to go to Airbnbs often in my travel to have a place away from home. It's so lovely for me. And somehow my husband has figured out how to get paid to stay at the best Airbnbs I've ever stayed at, complete with meals. like this, can this be real? But it is. I mean, I would say pinch me, but I don't have to say pinch me. It's real. This is the truth. And I am so grateful because it's something that, it's beautiful to have witnessed it, but it's something that you can do. And it's because he showed up and he was good, not just at the job that he does from day to day, but he was good at his passion in a very specific way that people started to solicit him. And I was like, babe, you might want to take this seriously. Now that's the Leo cheerleader in me. And I was like, well, why don't we make a couple of cards? Maybe the next time someone says something, you can slide him a really fancy, snazzy card. And then whatever, because you can't solicit where he works specifically because it's very wealthy clientele and a lot of celebrities, like only celebrities, like Olympians and the best of the best come through this country club. So he can't solicit, but they started to solicit him. It was just such an incredible thing to watch unfold. And then the prayer that I had to let go of, because that's how manifestation happens. I always wanted a husband that would travel with me, or a partner that would do those things. And I just had decided it wasn't going to happen, and I made peace with it. And I still went out and lived my best life. Y'all have seen me around the world and right? But here, in the last year, I've quietly been watching this and making sure that it was going to be something that stuck, because when things were in incubation last year and a half or so, I didn't mention a word to anybody, not the closest people in my life, not my besties. Nobody knew this was happening because I wanted for it to take root and for it to be a solidified, real thing for him. But I am so proud of him. I'm proud of him. That's not something, I come on here to talk a lot, and I might mention relationship dynamics, and usually I'm teaching from things that have gone belly up, but this is one where I got to watch a man, and I'm just going to tell you, so I hope this doesn't trigger you. In the beginning, I was working in corporate America, but I was also catering, and I was also, right? But he was looking at my life, and he was very organized, and he was very organized financially. We've been together for so long, guys. God, wow, 15 years. So I can't even believe that I'm saying that. That's crazy. But we've been together for a long time, and not married the whole time though. So we were both like consummate bachelors and bachelorettes in our souls. So we've only been married for 6 years, but because I didn't think we were ever going to get married. I didn't really think it was something that either of us wanted to. It was very interesting how that all came about. But the point is this: in the beginning, he was kind of looking down on my financial status, and I was doing my business, but it just hadn't like grown in the way that I wanted it to. And I remember us having like an argument, just to be so candid, and him saying, you don't have a pot to piss in. And that wasn't the truth. He didn't really know me fully, but he was making assumptions on what he could see. What do they say about judging a book by its cover, actually? And I thought, I'm the most abundant person you've ever run into, because I knew my Empress energy, even though it wasn't fully formed. Trust me, it was baby Empress, okay? It was like janky Empress. In fact, okay, just to be transparent, not the woman you see today by any stretch of the imagination. And that's what he was judging it off of. And yet and still, the angel said, this is your person. But he was making a judgment because, and also this is a thing that I do, because of the work I do and because of the way that I read, I always factor in people's astrology signs and their personality. So I knew that he wasn't just being malicious. That's a terrifying thing for him. Financial responsibility. He's good at it as a Capricorn. It's a natural acumen he has. However, carrying someone else is not something any Capricorn wants to do. They find resentment in it, actually. And I was like, no. In me, you have a partner that will match you. Not just 50-50, because I won't do that either. There's some Empress energy, things that I insist upon, absolutely. But I knew, too, about my earning potential and capacity. And I spoke to it, and I said, I'm going to treat you better than you're treating me right now, because I'm telling you, what you see is not what you're going to fully end up getting. It's going to go beyond. We're going to take it to the moon. We're going to take it to the stars. I didn't have any aspirations of us being power couples with individual businesses. In fact, my husband did not really have any aspiration for business, but it's because the business found him. It's because a manifestation was put out. I said I would like a husband that takes little jints and jaunts and little vacations with me. And even if I can't get him fully outside of the country, which I have got him out of the country, but even if initially I didn't even think that was going to be a thing. And the angel said, let us do the heavy lifting. You've told us what you want, Monette. You've told us what you would like to manifest. You told us what you would like to see become a reality. Let us take our time and unfold this. And oh my God, oh say can you see? Do y'all see what's in front of me? We are on the putting greens of one of the most prestigious golf clubs in the state that I live in. One of the top 10 in the country. I can't even make it up. And that's beautiful. And this house is insane. I'm not going to go through for the privacy of the owners. But like I said, on the gym wall is a picture of the dog. It's so cool. The whole thing is just such a cool thing. But all for the last year and a half, this has been our reality. So it's like the angels found a way to take care of two things, because the Leo and me would love power couple, but my husband's not necessarily metaphysical, and he doesn't have any aspirations to be on YouTube. He's a simple kind of guy, and he's private too, and I love that about him. One of us gets to be the person that does one thing, and one of us does another, and he's an anchor in so many ways. But this beautiful life and this beautiful place, and even though this is not the place we live, but this is a place that he does give energetically, meaning I'm allowed to share in it, but it's definitely a part of my manifestation. But it was his manifestation specifically that brought this into fruition and made it a reality. And he absolutely finesse the matrix. It's just so incredible to me. Broke out of the matrix, because that was hard for him to understand how you can make money in a way where it's pure pleasure. You know, he's a pine before. You really love your job. And I really do. I love what I do. You know, I love waking up. I love figuring out puzzles with you guys. I love it. Sometimes I'm tired. I need a nap. And sometimes I'm right back at it. And I can yap and yap and yap, as you guys know. So talking to you guys, creating content, working with you, doing readings, all of this is the joy of my life. And I was always wanting to push him into other higher levels. He's been in management and all that stuff, but I was always like, well, why don't you go for general? Why don't you go for this? And why don't you go for that? And he just didn't want to. And he stood his ground, and I'm really proud of him. He stood his ground, and he was like, nah, it doesn't feel right for me. And then all of a sudden, his fate, his preparation, and his natural passion intersected with his destiny. And it was offered to him another way to make money and then provide his wife, who does, with a Taurus moon, love a good vacation in a luxurious space. Amen. And I deserve it. I do. The angels knew I needed this, but also that we needed to bond as a couple too, in that way, in a way that was good for me. We have different love languages. His is acts of service, mine is words of affirmation and gifts. And so he takes fantastic care of me, such good care of me that my friends and family have made jokes about it, right? They're like, but he is good about that. His acts of service always shines through. But words of affirmation, he's worked on and he's grown. He's gotten so much better with that. I'm proud of him for that too. But this right here, this would factor into the gift side. And while it's not a house that he's gifting me, it's vacation time and togetherness time that he's gifting me in a space that is filled with luxury. We love to see it. And then it makes his Capricorn heart delighted, because at the end of the day, he goes away with a really nice pay, and also the food was paid and a beautiful space, and he is in his bliss, loving on these animals and feeding them. He turns into this big baby, and he's such a sweetheart with any animal that's in front of him, and I couldn't be more proud. So now, while we're not quote unquote a power couple, we are both two independent people that have a business. We are a couple that both run our own businesses, which I never saw for him. Even with all of my psychic gifts, I thought, oh, everyone always wants him. He's just good at managing things, taking care of things. He's dependable. And so that I saw easy. But this was something that was hidden and cloaked from me, because they wanted him to naturally do the work he needed to come into the realization that if you trust us, we can bless you. That's the message for today. If you trust your spirit team, if you trust your angels and ancestors, they can bless you immensely. They can take you to the greatest heights and give you things you didn't even know you wanted. Not only did they answer an internal prayer for him to create extra money, because a Capricorn, one does a Capricorn never not want extra money, but they also created for me the answer to, when do I not want to spend time with my partner in luxury? Luxury, where we're welcomed in beautiful gated communities and multi-million dollar homes. I couldn't have written it better. And I couldn't have paid for it, meaning I stayed at a nice Airbnb or 3, but never anything to this capacity. And not yet anyway, okay? So I don't know what the future holds. Sometimes there are things that are hidden and cloaked. And I wanted to speak to that today as well too. You may feel like you've been trying for something and it's not working. But what they want you to do is get really in touch with what is your center, what feels right for you. Because they said when you know that, then we can bring anything through. And this is something I couldn't even have foreseen. There have been a lot of houses we have walked through over the last year and a half where it's been like a dream. And again, yesterday and the day before, when we're walking through this home, it's a dream. I could not have asked for more. It's a beautiful little getaway. I was going to go out of town. I was going to go a few states away. And he was like, oh, well, I got to work this weekend, babe. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, you want to come with me? And I was like, sure. bring your wife to work? Absolutely. And when I came, I was just like, babe, I'm so proud of you. Look what you did. Look what you manifested. And only leave it to a Capricorn to figure out how to get paid to go on vacation. Only a Capricorn. I'm telling you, every sign has archetypal behavior and like typical behavior, and that was the finesse of the century for me. For him, I was so impressed. But beyond being impressed, we started with, I'm grateful for chips. So if you are in a connection and you're like, I don't see how this is going to go, and it's healthy and it's not abusive, guys, let's be reasonable. But if it's, let's say it's an actual connection that feels good for you, and you're like, I don't know how this dream's going to come true. I was skeptical. I'm not going to lie to you. Especially, I was disappointed in the way he spoke to me all those years ago when he couldn't see my dream and my vision. But how could he? What I do specifically, that's not a Capricorn strong suit, is to live in any kind of delulu or fantasy. In order to make my life happen, there was no blueprint. You guys have heard me say it before. There was no one in front of me. There was no one behind me. I had to figure this out with a lot of people. And not just a lot of people. There was literally not one person, except for maybe my bestie, who supported me and believed in me. Okay? That's not true. I had other friends that believed in me, but I don't think they believed that I was going to take it as far as they did. There was definitely people that believed in me, believed in my psychic work, and spoke life over me. So that is true. I did have support, but I didn't have people think that I was going to turn it into, and I still don't know what it's turned into. I think some of that's cloaked. I think it's still ever evolving. There's a yellow butterfly that just flew across there as confirmation. Expansion, solar plexus, Leo energy, the sun, of which I'm going to be out in today. It's just so gorgeous out here, guys. Cumulus clouds, who knows, whatever degrees. I am in gratitude, a gratitude that makes you drop to your knees. But this did not happen for my husband because he was trying to people please me. Let's talk about it. When I was trying to push him into other places that felt right to me, he stood his ground and said, nah, that doesn't feel like my destiny. But because he started to actually connect with his spirit team on his own, not because I asked him to, I just made small introductions. And then I said, the rest is up to you. Because what I've learned from coming from a Christian background is that no one loves a zealot and no one loves someone who's bashing them over the head with a good book, whichever denomination that is. So you find your own way to Christ, to God, to salvation, to the universal balance, to spirituality, whatever you want to name it, and no one can make you do anything. People have to be ambitious in their own right, and he figured it out, and it was through animals that his spirituality took flight. And how apropos that it's through animals that he now is making extra money. He is de-stressing every time he pets one of these beautiful animals and lays on the floor and rolls around and sends pictures to the owners, and he gets thank you notes back about what an amazing job and how the animal is so spoiled and they love to see him, and word has spread and the cards were made. Now that was my job as wifey, was to tighten it up and make it official, so I did what my angels guided me to do, but the rest was all him. He brought this manifestation through, and I feel so blessed that I can share it with you, that I actually get to benefit from it too. And it's something that tickles my fancy as well, which is relaxing by the pool. I'm going to be having a cocktail here when it's appropriate time, but relaxing by the pool and decompressing, because I need this too. And I love that it's something that he can gift me and he gets paid, and it's something that he loves to do. It's just, you couldn't ask for a better situation. You couldn't ask for better. But the thing about it is it's not about being an ultimate go-getter, because it wasn't like he chased this. And that's another lesson about manifestation. You just put it out to the universe what you want. What I wanted was vacations with my husband. I did want that. And even though I was able to outsource and have some beautiful opportunities and memories, there's nothing like connecting with the partner that God has brought you, to whatever degree, if you guys are compatible and it's not abusive. Again, those are my caveats and my disclaimers. Don't state anything crazy. Don't deal with narcissists, but that's not what I was dealing with. But I was dealing with figuring out how to make the best of what I had, because for a long time I had bitched about it, I had commiserated about it, I had shared it with my close friend and all the rest of what was in deficit, instead of being grateful for the abundance that I had. And when I started to speak about the abundance that I had and incubate and keep private maybe some of my disappointments, then the abundance flourished and unfurled and flourished and got louder, as these crickets are doing. And the universe started to sing in a symphony, and I started to see such beautiful things in front of, or that were presented in the man that was standing in front of me. I watched him come into himself. My husband is older than me too. And I always say this is something that any astrologer will tell you, Capricorn men specifically get better with time. They are fine wine. They not only are cuter, he is, to me, cuter than he is when I met him, far more. I love a silver fox. His beard is silver. He's just cute. But He's cuter than when I met him. He's smarter. He's all the things. And that could be you fall in love and all of that grows over time. But the thing about it is yeah, Capricorn men age like fine wine. They get better as they get older. They really hunker down into family. And though he has missed some beats, man, the way that he has taken care of me is something could bring tears to my eyes, especially when I was so sick in the last year and a half, 2 years, guys. He had to literally nurse me back to health. And for better or worse, you never understand until you're in that. And he did things that I didn't even know if I could do. And I was a mess. I was in excruciating pain. I was a mess. And he had to, when my home health care stopped, they stopped coming, he had to dress wounds. TMI, but that's the truth. And we went from, I'm not even peeing with the door open because we are not savages. I'm super empress in that way, to him seeing the most horrific thing that's ever happened to me. Man, I'm grateful for the person that the universe and the angels saw fit to intersect in my destiny. I would not want another person here standing with me. And I don't know what the future holds, and I don't know what else will unfold, but what I know is that where I sit today, this is his work. He brought this our way, and he did it very much like Frank Sinatra, his way. And I'm so proud of him. But for you, the lesson to take away from that is, if you're in a partnership and it maybe doesn't seem like God put you with the right person, because I asked a couple times, I'm like, is this right? Are y'all sure? I was highly skeptical, hence why we didn't get married for a long time, okay? I was highly skeptical. He was comfortable. You know how it goes. But the truth of the matter is that the universe always knew. The universe always knows. And if you are searching for passion in your life, it's not just about couple goals, because no one's couple goals. We're all full of shit. We all fight. We all don't like our spouse at times. But if you want to love your spouse, then you can press towards that and you can refine the relationship. And I am a testament to that it can get better and that someone can accept you when you're at your worst and when you're at your best. And you have to stand up for yourself, though. But the thing that I want to teach you guys today is put out into the universe the kind of thing you want coming your way, the kind of experience, the kind of life, the kind of lifestyle. For me, this is E. I'm here channeling Robin Leach, Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. I'm channeling that. And I'm like, okay, angels, okay, maybe I can't be one of those people Robin Leach is interviewing yet, operative word. But until then, because I know that it is part of my destiny, then put me in spaces where I can manifest what it feels like to live in that reality. And who knew that it would be my husband that would facilitate it with his frugal mind and his, I'm not spending that, because I'm the one who's like, vacation sis. I'm like, let's go. And God said, I'm going to give you exactly what seeds you sowed. So you sowed belief and you invested into him about his spirituality in just a small way. I'm telling you guys, he did the rest. And now you get to have this day and so many days like it that have happened, and more to come, prayerfully. But it happened because he was obedient to what felt passionate about his destiny, and then the universe gave to him the thing that was actually in alignment with him, outside of my pushing and encouragement. When it was time to push in this last moment of get cards and make this a reality, that was the only little thing that I did. And it was something he actually asked me for. I've been really waiting for the invite. He asked me for, like, what do you think I should do? And I was like, well, the only thing I think you really should do is, like, get some really amazing cards that are memorable. And so we created that. And I was really happy that he asked me to powwow, but he did the rest. Actually, his spirit team really did the rest. And he showed up and was a good steward and does his best. And he's obedient, meaning he follows the rules. I happen to love the doggy that we're babysitting today. His name is Chewy, and he's so cute. He's an English bulldog, and he's gray. The whole house, the decor, you see this gray that's on the floor here, the whole house is like that gray. They love Chip and Joanna games. Everything is shiplap inside, and so the dog matches the house. It's just amazing. I love wealth. I love it. The dog matches the house, but he is so cute, and I wanted to spend time with him. And this morning I was like, well, just let Chewy stay with me, and then, because I'm going to be here, so I'll let him out. I'm going to be out at the pool all day and whatever. And he was was like, no, the instructions said that he needs to go back. He has his own house, guys, so don't worry. He's not in a kennel. He has a home. He has like a bunk bed and a bed, and he has like his own couch, and it's in his own little separate room. It has a gate, his own pillows with his face on it. Amaze balls. But I was like, just let him hang out here with me and I'll take him out, you know, whatever. And he was like, no, his mom said that he needs to go back and she wants to keep him on his routine. I'm so proud of him, because even with my, like, you know, ocean eyes this morning, like, oh, just let him stay with me. He was like, nah, babe, I'm gonna come back on my lunch, I'm gonna let him out, you don't have to do that, that's my responsibility. God is good, man. But that's because it's something he's passionate about, and he's not even wavering for me, and that means, fortunately, he'll continue to be hired because he listens. All these places that we stay have cameras too, so he, you know, it's not even something I thought about, but he was like, no, I'm gonna do what she asked me to do. And I was like, okay, say less. Let me get out your business. Okay, sir, you do you and I'll do me. Let me take a client and then you take care of Chewy. But what I want you to take away from that is, if you're passionate about something, it can be something that becomes what you make your money from. A lot of us worry about that. We hear it, you know, people teach it all the time. Do the thing you love. We hear Oprah talk about it back in the 90s all the time, and everybody says it, and it seems like, well, must be easy for you. I never understood how this path would unfold for my husband. I never understood that this was something that he would do and that he would be so good at. And it's not something he has to try to be good at. He's just kind of effortlessly good. He has a natural, uncanny ability to speak to animals. They freaking love him. And now it's turned into something that's not just lucrative, but a de-stressor and a blessing for me specifically. I love it so much. And if you have something in your life that you feel good at, what's your natural acumen? What are you naturally good at? What do you have a natural aptitude for? That could be what you actually create money with. I have a friend who loves to be outdoors, and that's what she does for a living. She finds all these interesting things, jobs that I would never have heard of if you paid me, and she makes fantastic money doing that way for her. I have other friends that are in the spiritual business, and they manifested that to be their reality. Friends that are in the medical field. It doesn't have to be something just willy-nilly or nebulous or something that's a little bit strange. It could be very conventional, but let it be something that you're passionate about. That's if you are up for that kind of change. My husband was not willing or ready to let go of his 9-to-5, and though the angels have kind of tipped me off, I haven't even mentioned it to him, to be quite honest with you, how I see the future going with this, because my little ambitious Leo self can get ahead of myself. But he's at his 9-to-5, and I love that for him. But I can see how this will grow. But even if he wants to keep his 9-to-5 because that's Capricorn energy and that makes him feel happy, then that's what he's supposed to do. But I love that he has this other thing that he manifested too. The same is true for you. You don't have to quit your 9-to-5 if that's what you feel comfortable with, if that's paying your bills. Never let it be said that Monette gave you bad financial advice, so I'm not a financial advisor. I'm going to give you some practical life advice. Do what's right for you. But if there's something else that you're passionate about, put it out to the universe and help them manifest it with you too. All right, so good sharing energy with you guys. Come back and join me next time. Mama has to get a drink and I got to get in this pool. So good sharing energy with you. Come back and join me next time, guys. We'll continue to evolve together.